Okay, so we got Kentucky, and I've got multiple, so I just keep, like in these favorites, I keep this thing called state weight distance tax, and it's just got all the specific state stuff. So it's got Connecticut. I saved a scam site. There's, if, once you get your authority, there's tons of scams. You're always dealing with people trying to rip you off. And so this site, let's just go to this site. What was it about this one? I don't know if they were up at the top of the like sponsored search or something, but I typed in New York Hut into a search one time, and that was the very first result. And I assumed it was, the first result would be the actual thing, but I guess I clicked on a sponsored thing, so I just saved it as I saved that as a scam website. So, um, yeah, let's go back to that real quick because I actually called the guy. I mean, I didn't fall for the scam, but it looked kind of legit, and I called the guy. So there's one person operating this. He lives in California because I talked to him. It's an Indian guy, and where is it? So yeah, so NewYorkHighwayUseTax.com. There's like one guy living in an apartment out in New York or in California operating this, and it's just a complete fraud. I mean, now they might do the filing for you. I mean, I don't think I didn't try it, but there's tons of organizations that will, when you get your authority, that will just try to get you to give them money in exchange for them submitting a form, clicking a button. Because whenever anything that has to be submitted, you have to get all the information, like you have to input that information somewhere. So there's these businesses set up. I think they're frauds. I think they're scams because all you're doing is you're putting the information into their website, and then they're transferring it and they're clicking submit on the actual website. You would put in the same information no matter which website you're on, but they charge an additional fee, and they're saying that they're helping you do that faster. You're putting in the same exact information. You're just entering it on their site, and then they are submitting it to the state or federal website. So just a quick side note, there's a ton of fraud and people just trying to grab a few dollars here and there for literally doing nothing. I mean, that website that we were just on, that New York Hut website, it's nothing. It's submitting the New York Hut for you. So there's no way he can submit the New York Hut because he doesn't know my information. So I'd have to put all my information in, give it to him, and then he can just send it to New York. You can just do it directly with New York or whichever state or the federal government. So don't get caught up in all that crap. And that applies to I mean, once you sign up, like I've got 4 or 5 different phone numbers now. You do have to be able to answer, like when you're getting your numbers, the main number you use, you do have to be able to take calls on that number occasionally. So I just added a second line to one of my Verizon phones, and so that number's on there, but it is what do I have that set to? Somehow I've got that a second line there. Then I've got a Google Voice number, and I got the Google Voice number that just automatically forwards to voicemail somehow. So anybody that calls that number listed on FMCSA's website, it just goes straight to voicemail. So you don't want to use your main phone number when you're getting your authority. You would get offers for dispatching services. What else? Factoring. So the big ones are factoring, dispatch service. I get calls all the time, emails all the time and they're always, I don't know why, they're all Indians. I guess the Indians have cornered the dispatching market, but they're they call you all the time and offer you, they want to, find you loads. And I mean, it's like factoring. Except the dispatchers may be a little different. They take a percentage of your total revenue. So it's a big fee. And the dispatchers, I think they wanted more because they're actually doing something. They're actually making calls and booking loads for you. But I talked to one of them. I was just curious what they charged. It was going to be 6%. What he wanted, 6%. Now, that doesn't mean all dispatchers are frauds. I mean, booking loads for a truck and driving the truck and working on the truck and doing the accounting. I mean, when you own a truck, if you're an owner operator, you're the driver, you're the owner, you can be the mechanic. Sometimes you're the accounting person, you're accounts receivable, accounts payable, you're all these different things, and you have to be the dispatcher. So I'm not saying if you need a dispatching service, it could be worth it. And I'm sure it could have made me, because you're not able to sit there and look at the load board while you're driving down the road. So do you miss some opportunities? Of course. But 6% or 4%, I mean, I don't factor. I think that's a pretty big number that they charge for factoring and a dispatch service. I mean, and the thing is, if I was running a van, I would probably consider the dispatching service more. But my equipment is not, so I'm real picky, and I've got not real specialized equipment, but it's a low profile step deck. I have 10-foot tarps. I got one of my 10-foot tarps that I have stored in a 5-foot drop configuration, so I can use it as a 10, but it's it's rolled up as a 5. I got a 6-foot drop in there, so I've got 4 tarps. I had ramps, but my ramps to the bottom, to the ground, got stolen. I still have ramps to the top deck. My deck height is about 35 and a half, 36 inches so it's not a traditional step. It's a low pro step. It's got 3 axles, so I can do overweight stuff. I mean, you can do overweight with 2 axles, but what I'm saying is I've got a lot. It would be hard for a dispatcher to understand all the different nuances of the loads I'm calling about. And he wouldn't be able to understand, like he'll book me a tarp load thinking he just did a great job because it was, one of the best paying loads on the board. But I charge a different rate for tarping. I charge a different rate for big tarps and small tarps. And I charge a different rate for the tarps depending on the season. So there's no way a dispatcher would be able to keep up with how I'm, like the filters I use to book loads. There's just no way a dispatching service would be able to keep up with all that stuff. And if it's 115 degrees outside in Arizona or South Texas or something, everything's different. So it'd be hard for them to keep up with all of it. And trying to get a dispatcher to understand, okay, this truck they've got ramps, but they only go from the bottom deck to the top deck. He doesn't have ramps to go from the ground to it's too much for him to keep up with. So I don't use dispatching service. I don't even consider it because of those reasons right there. So here's another example of scams and fraud. They send you this 2026 Unified Carrier Registration. It came from DOT Processing Service from South Governors Avenue Street, Dover, Delaware, so it looks official. All this stuff enforcement requires, so everything looks real scary, like you've screwed something up. Then you look support at renewucr.com. Read down here, DOT Processing Service and Dakota Compliance Group. provides services that FMCSA and DOT require, but is not affiliated. So that's not a real government website. So the actual government website for the UCR is, let's see, right here. Simple website, couldn't be any easier, nothing to it. The web address is www.ucr.gov. That takes you there. So that DOT processing service was just, they're trying to collect money for providing no service at all. They're not giving you anything, but they're taking money from you.